Hello there YouTube, this is Detective Steve, and I'm making this video today because I've been caught up in the Get to Know Me tag that's going around on YouTube. Not only have a couple of my critic colleague friends been subject to it, but one of them, Tylor of TheBigOReview, actually tagged me to do this challenge, so you're gonna get to know a little bit more about me today. What is my middle name? For the reason of personal identification, I won't share this information on the internet like this, but I will tell you this, I don't have a middle name, I have two. Favorite color? Dark blue, navy blue, sapphire, whatever you want to call this blue, okay? This is my favorite color of blue. Who was your first best friend? The first person I ever considered my best friend was a kid named Zach. He and I knew each other shortly before we started kindergarten together, and we had classes up till 4th grade together. After like 2nd or 3rd grade, we kind of started to drift apart, hang out with different people, do different things. You know, our personalities just didn't click as much the way they used to. I don't know where he's ended up, but I'm a decent human being, so hopefully he is in a good place. I don't wish badly for him. My current best friend is Tylor from TheBigOReview. How tall are you? 6'2". And thank you, Get to Know Me tag, for being like the 1000th thing in my lifetime to ever ask me how tall I am. Cats or dogs? Both of them are very cute and very entertaining animals, but dogs win out for one unfortunate reason, and that is I am allergic to cats. Funniest school moment? Junior year of high school. I was in acting class. We were putting on a show called The Front Page, which at its very core was about newspaper reporters, and I was playing the sheriff in a particular scene, and a classmate of mine was playing the mayor. In the middle of it, one of the reporter characters was supposed to come in and say something and continue the scene forward, but this person was obviously not paying attention very well, so they missed their cue. So what ended up happening was what you taught to do when you're in acting improv. You cover up, you try and keep the scene going until the person gets into gear and gets their cue. So what we ended up doing is we started just going off on a tongue-in-cheek conversation about how unreliable typewriters are. That is to say, if you make a mistake when you're typing something, you have to start all over, fresh new piece of paper, everything. I was saying stuff like, what if they invented electronic typewriters? What if they had devices where if you make a mistake, it's okay, you can just press a button to go back and erase your mistake and keep going. And then the other guy just kept going like, that's crazy idea. You're talking witchcraft or something. And it was probably the longest freeform improv I've ever gone on. How many countries have you visited? I went to Mexico once for a vacation. I gotta take a picture with a monkey standing on top of my head, which is probably one of my favorite personal pictures. Are you in or have you gone to college? I have been to college, as those of you who follow the show or my Facebook page will know. I'm graduated now. I have a communications major with an emphasis in media production, and currently I'm in the job market. What were your favorite and your worst subjects in high school? Acting, because not only was it a lot of fun, but there was a really good sense of community in the class, especially junior and senior year, when a few years of the class had essentially built us into a core group of juniors and seniors. And the last couple of years we had a bunch of great parties at the end of the runs of our show. I used my video camera to tape a lot of the moments during junior and senior year for when me and my graduating class were about to graduate. I could make a super emotional video that would make everyone cry. It totally succeeded, by the way. I consider acting to be among the best times I had in high school. Although I also have a love-hate relationship with acting because I did not get along with my instructor all of the time. Let's just say that. But as far as which subject is actually my worst, I don't think I was the worst at math, but in my senior year, I just started getting really irritated of learning stuff in math that I was never going to use in real life. And I think by the end of the year, I got a D. I don't think my parents knew about it, but I had fulfilled all of the math requirements I needed to up until that point, so we're okay, aren't we? Favorite drink? In terms of soda, Nesbitt's Peach is one that really struck me because it's one of the few things that actually creates the texture of the fruit as you're drinking it in a soda. It works really well. I'm a big fan of Mountain Dew, I think it's Voltage, the blue raspberry one. That one is really good to me. I'm not really big into alcohol, but I do like Smirnoff and Smirnoff Ice. I think that should be a good enough answer for you guys. I also like hot chocolate. Favorite animal? You didn't specify whether this animal had to be fictional or not, so I would have to say, from Avatar: The Last Airbender, either a flying bison or a fire ferret. Although if you want a real-life equivalent of the fire ferret, you would get the red panda, which are pretty adorable animals. Favorite perfume? I do not wear perfume and I don't wear cologne, so I have no answer for you. Tea or coffee? Tea because I don't like coffee, with the exception of mocha frappes. What would you name your children? From about age 13 onwards, I was a mentor to my younger cousin. I think that's all the parenting I need in my life, but I will humor you with this question. If it were a girl, I'd probably name her Sabrina. And if it were a boy, I'd probably name him after one of my favorite movie characters, like Luke for Luke Skywalker. Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender, I would name my kid Sokka if I could get away with it. What sports have you played? From my early childhood through my middle school days, I have played the following sports: soccer, basketball, baseball, and tennis. Favorite book? Would it count if I said book 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender? I don't read nearly as much as I used to in my childhood. I used to read a lot of Star Wars books, Harry Potter, A Series of Unfortunate Events, but I would have to say if I had to pick a favorite, it would be the Harry Potter series. And if you want to get more specific and say, okay, but which Harry Potter book is your favorite? Probably Order of the Phoenix, because there's just so much going against Harry. It really pushes the limits of his character, and I just hate Umbridge so much that it makes it hard not to enjoy the story where she is the villain. Who are some of your favorite YouTubers? I started on YouTube many years ago under a different channel doing Guitar Hero videos, and among my favorites back then were S. Armstrong, who introduced the idea of doing a skit and then playing Guitar Hero. He doesn't really do much anymore, but I have a lot of fond memories of him. I'm a big fan of Ryan Higa, aka Niga Higa. He was one of the first major YouTube stars and still one of the most subscribed users to this day. I'm a fan of a lot of different movie review channels. David DeMoss, I really think he has an interesting, cynical perspective on movies. And I also like how he doesn't do reviews the usual way where it's like, here's the beginning of the film and you just go along it and make commentary. Like, that's what I do and that works for me. But he talks about it differently and I really like that perspective. I also enjoy the content over at freaking Nitro TV. Movie reviews, game reviews, food reviews. They also do wrestling and NASCAR editorials as far as I can tell. I do like that they do a variety of content. Their channel is a channel with several variations of content instead of a channel with a very singular focus. Also like Nostalgia Critic, Chris Stuckman, Screen Junkies, How It Should Have Ended, been fans of them for many, many years. Elsie Lovelock, one of my favorite YouTube singers. I discovered her ages ago when she did a female version of Hellfire from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. That blew my mind. And as far as favorites go, I think I'll put the cap right there. Favorite movie? It will be a lifelong battle between The Sandlot and the Toy Story trilogy. Are you single or taken? I suppose you could say I'm taken by the pursuit of a career in media or voice acting or whatever it is I end up doing professionally, but romantically speaking, no, I am single. What is your ideal first date? I'm going to give you 5 seconds to just think about that for a second, and I'll let you come up with an answer. Going to the movies. Preferably something my date is really excited to go see. How many girlfriends or boyfriends have you had? I had 3 minor flings that really didn't amount to anything in middle and high school, but in terms of serious relationships, I've had 2. What is your favorite childhood memory? I would say my first time watching Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, because everything about the Star Wars saga was coming full circle at that point, as far as I was concerned. And, there weren't going to be any more Star Wars movies, so this was a major, major event. And back then, Star Wars was arguably the most important thing to me. Not much has changed, as you can see. The hype building up to it. I remember I spent like 3 hours back when I had dial-up internet loading the trailer for Revenge of the Sith. There was a Battle of Heroes music video until it took on a new level at adulthood. That was probably my biggest period of Star Wars fandom throughout my entire life. Do you speak any foreign languages? If so, how well? I am mildly proficient in Spanish. Honestly, long story short, I took classes partway through high school on it. I got pretty good at it. And then I kind of let it fall by the wayside, which maybe I feel I shouldn't have done because knowing Spanish is a useful skill. Do you have any siblings? I have two. I have an older sister, about 2 years older, and I have a younger sister, about 3 years younger. There are 3 of us. I am in the middle. Describe your fashion sense. Uninformed and unconcerned. Whatever's next in line when I open my closet in the morning is what I put on that day. I do also make a point to own t-shirts based off fandom things that I like. Favorite restaurant? Although I'd rather pick something a little more locally inclined, I honestly really enjoy the experience I get whenever I go to the restaurant Tucanos. You are at your table with a plate and waiters are coming around carrying a stick with a big old slab of meat on it. And they say, hey, do you want to try this slab of meat? And if you say yes, you get a little bit of meat. So essentially, it's a meat sample extravaganza of a restaurant. And it's probably the most unique dining experience I've ever had in my entire life. Warning though, it is very expensive, like $25-30 a person if you include drinks. Favorite TV shows? To the surprise of probably no one who knows me very well, I enjoy mostly cartoons in terms of TV shows. I really like Teen Titans, that's still more or less my all-time favorite cartoon. Avatar: The Last Airbender, that show is amazing. Also really like Legend of Korra, its follow-up series. Gravity Falls, Steven Universe. To just give it a little bit of variety, I'll throw a live-action show in there. I also really enjoy the reality show Survivor. I watch virtually every season of it with my dad. He and I talk about it. One of our favorite things to connect over. And I just really like the game of Survivor. I think it's really twisted and interesting and entertaining, which is why it's been on for like 17 years now. Holy crap. You know, I would actually love to be on Survivor one day. PC or Mac? PC. Macs are more expensive than they need to be. You know, they're fine, they work well enough. I prefer the function and feel of PC. iOS versus Android. LG Octane. I don't have a smartphone. I don't need a smartphone. If I gave into the dark side of smartphones and allowed myself to get sucked into all the amazing things they can do, I would never go back. And I'm going to fight that for as long as I can. And lastly, one of your bad habits. I would say my tendency to want to control a situation is a habit that I need to not necessarily break, because sometimes it's good to have control of a situation, but more so to know when I don't need to have control of something, or to accept that I don't have control or something and not get so upset by it. This is a character flaw that my friends have addressed to me personally before, which is nice because friends should be able to talk to friends about character flaws so that they may grow up from it and become better people in the future. And I feel like from these moments of being addressed about it, this has happened and I've improved on this bad habit, but aspects of it still persist. It is still somewhat a part of who I am, and now you guys know that it's a part of me. So you're welcome, I guess. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of the list. Now I guess I'm supposed to tag someone else. I suppose I'll tag Elsie Lovelock. I don't have very many other ideas. I don't know if she'll even do it, but I'll give it a shot. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed getting to know me a little bit more as a person as opposed to as a movie reviewer. This is Detective Steve, signing off.